Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. I had a lovely garden party yesterday. The sun shone for about 10-15 minutes, I think. But we had a lovely time, and the guy's growing area was stunning. But it was not deemed a suitable place to film because I couldn't do it without getting people's faces in and things like that. It's a shame, but fantastic place. Yeah, absolutely stunning. The guy's he doesn't know how many orchids he's got. He said, I haven't got a clue, but it's 1,500 plus. I can't imagine trying to look after that many, ever, even if I had the space. Yeah, it was quite an eye-opener. And the biggest, vastest collection of dendrobium species I could ever imagine seeing in one place. Absolutely stunning. Put my collection to shame. I think I've got about 40 types of dendrobiums. So I'm just holding the camera on this little miniature Oncidium. If I just move the camera, you can see how miniature it is. It's tiny. But I just wanted to tell you something. My video I did on the relationship between pH values and calcium and magnesium uptake, you do realise that was going to be a proper experiment. I had the water ready, I had my feed ready, I had my TDS meter and my pH meter, and I was going to show adding a bit of feed to the sort of levels I've been using, showing the pH reading, and then I was going to add some more feed in to get a higher TDS and show the pH going down and all this, that and the other. And the little glass thingy on the bottom of my pH meter looked a bit dirty, so I decided to clean it and put my finger straight through the glass. So I now have no pH meter. And it just reminded me about something somebody said to me a long time ago. I used to be a bit of the Mr. Angry type person, and after a particular flare-up type discussion we'd just had over some software we were going to put out, and I didn't think it was ready, and some said it's got to go, it's political, and blah 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 blah. And we were up the pub having a pie and a pint and putting the world to rights, and he said, of course you do realise when you have one of your little flare-ups, you're the only one who spoils the day for yourself. You don't spoil it for everybody else. Everybody else probably just has a laugh on your behalf. And you know, I've never done it since. I get mildly annoyed sometimes, but that's about as bad as it ever gets. What's the point of getting angry at stuff? All you do is spoil your own day. And as I said, you may be giving a few others quite a little giggle in the background there. It's just not worth the trouble. If you've got a problem, try and find a solution. And if it's somebody else's fault, then there's probably nothing you can do about it anyway. So, why lose your rag? It just seems pointless. I got a relatively lazy day today. I have got to water all my mounted orchids. And of course, it's annoying now because I'm going to be aware while I'm watering them, I'm giving them calcium that they probably can't use, and I need them to use it. My only alternative at the moment is to use a higher level of feed. Now, on my mounted orchids, that's not too much of a big deal as long as I don't overcook it, because a lot are bare-rooted and they dry fast. And if you overdose your feed on bare roots, irrespective of the feed's makeup, they'll only take in so much of it and the rest just sits there on the roots, and it's not going to do them any good, which is why I've been using the low levels of feed and flushing frequently to avoid those situations. As that's, it's all got some logic in there somewhere. But without pH meter, I'm a bit buggered, I think is the expression. I can't check what I'm up to. So all I can do is rely on my previous knowledge of when I have tested my water, and I've got like a few set readings in my head. If the TDS reading is this, I know the pH is this because my starting point is pure water with a pH of 7, a TDS reading of next to nothing. So I know my start point. So if I've got my feed at a certain level, I know what the pH is without testing it. And if I increase that feed level, I know the effect it's going to have. So I can predict what I'm doing. But I am aware that I'm not getting calcium into quite a lot of my plants, and that needs to be changed. And Rick's video has just sort of shown the sort of products you ought to be using. Now, strangely enough, he recommends that you don't go mad if you want to raise your pH. Just use some bicarbonate of soda. You know, you find it in your cooking cupboard, your baking cupboard, and it's dirt cheap. And strangely enough, on occasions when I've needed to do that, that's exactly what I used. But Rick's recommendation is don't mess about using various ingredients to lower your pH because they're not stable. If you need to lower your pH, get a proper product. Get something that's used in hydroponics that remains stable. You can even mix up a stock solution and put a couple of drops of that in now and again, which I've ummed and ahed, and I've thought about it, and I've thought, well, the amount I spend on my orchids is minimal. You know, most of the kit's already here. I've sort of done the expense in the past, so I don't spend much, and I'm certainly not buying many orchids at the moment because I don't want any more. I've got more than enough. I'm in the position where I'm thinking about what can go, you know, literally to free up some space to allow my plants to get bigger, not to get more orchids in. But you always get your favourites. The more you get, the more favourites you will have. And as you get more favourites, some become less favourite, shall we say. So, you know, I have got some to go at some point over the next 6 months or so. But yeah, so it's a difficult sort of fiddle at the moment because I know I need to lower my pH a bit to get that calcium uptake, but I haven't got a product to do it. The only thing I've got is wine vinegar, and I know that will do it. But I'm quite happy to take advice from somebody who says, no, don't use that. It's not going to do your plant roots any good because it has other effects on things. You're adding stuff in that has an effect on the other elements, and it can change things in the media. I don't need to understand all what's getting changed and the chemical analysis. I don't need all that. All I need to know is that if somebody who knows what they're talking about in the world of the hydroponics says if you're going to lower your pH, get a proper product, then onto eBay I go and get a proper product, because I don't think there's anywhere I'll be able to buy that locally. And it means going out, and today I didn't want to go out. I just want a lazy day lounging around, which is what I hope to do. So I'll get the tripod on that little mini oncidium at some point. The blooms are absolutely gorgeous, but you've got to get right up close, you know. So I'll do that at some point, maybe later today. But until then, I shall be pottering about in here, enjoying some blooms, and oh, you'll like this as well. This is going to wobble because it's early in the day at the moment, and I'm wobbly till I get more coffees down my throat. You can see that spike is completely blasted. So where there were 4, there are now 3. And the other one at the top has blasted all except one bud. Now I know exactly why. This plant cannot support that amount of blooming because it has a lousy root system. I cannot get enough hydration in this plant. And really, for the plant's sake, you ought to take the rest of the blooms off, but what it's got I'm going to leave. But I asked around yesterday, with all those good growers around, I thought, well, now's the time to ask. I've got a dodgy Vanda that doesn't seem to want to grow new roots, and I'm having real trouble hydrating it. What do you suggest? And do you know how many good answers I got? None. It surprised me. Nobody had a sensible suggestion. The best suggestion I got was what I'm already doing. Well, you'll just have to try and keep it as hydrated as best you can. Well, already knew that. I was hoping to get, you know, a real good answer that I could give it a go at. One thing one person suggested was that if you look at the base of the plant, it's got gnarly old sheaths on. And they really are woody. They're solid. Now, obviously, if you look at where the only new roots come out, it's above that area. So I suggested to some of these people, should I take those sheaths off? you know, and let that stem be more exposed, and perhaps, you know, there's some root nubbins in there that might kick off. And most of them didn't know whether that would help or not. I think it's mainly because they probably never had the problem, so they've never had to think about it. But several people said, oh, if you start mucking about with the sheaves, you'll probably damage the stem. Well, I'm sort of thinking, if I damage the stem, so what? It's rubbish anyway. So I'm thinking the only thing I'm willing to try on this is just keep these scale at bay, because I can see where they've been again at the top of the plant there. See those pale patches? That's where they've been. Now, I do say been, they're not there anymore, they've ceased to be, but, you know, they've done the damage. And again, they got at that kiki when it was really young. You see the little pale patches where they were taking bites. But the kiki is growing on, but failing to produce roots. You know, so I've got to deal with this. I'm not prepared to just let it go under. So my next theory is I'm going to take them sheaths off. By hook or by crook, they're coming off. And hopefully that might regenerate a root system. The ideal world would be that I get more roots like that new one up at that point of the plant. And if I get that, I'll just take the base of the plant completely off. And then it can spend an awful lot of time stood in water, staying hydrated, which hopefully will then promote more roots, etc. It's like a sort of never-ending game here, but this plant just will not produce roots. Just won't have it. That's such a poor root system. I mean, there's a good root there, and a couple of little bits that have grown right down the bottom of the mount there. There's a couple of little extensions at the bottom of the mount. There's those two little bits there. One little bit there. Those couple of roots in behind the stem are viable. They're actually good roots, but they're so well attached to the mount, you know, I'd tear them to pieces if I took them off. But that's it. And then one new root. That's all I've got to work with. I don't really want to lose this Vanda, but if it's going to forever look like that, it's probably just going to have to go. It's an ugly bunny. It just spoils the look of the whole place. And then it blooms and you think, perhaps I'll keep it then. But I'm going to have to do some work. I'm going to take those sheaths off, I think. By hook or by crook, they're going to come off and expose that stem and see if it triggers some new roots. And if I can get enough new roots, I can get it off of this mount, because it's huge, big, clumsy, and quite honestly, not really serving any purpose. If I can get new roots, I can bare root it like the others. They can go in one of those little baskets or not. Either way will do. And the roots can just do their thing like Vanda roots are supposed to do. And that's what I'm after. I'm after this Vanda looking like some of those. You know, with roots growing all over the blinking place. It can dunk in the bucket, you know. I mean, this thing won't even dunk in the bucket, because that's cork. As soon as I put it in the bucket, it floats. So it's just a continuing problem, this one. It's just causing me a little worry. But I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to do it a bit at a time. As I say, I'm going to take those sheaths off, see what effect that has. I might take a few of the lower leaves off. You know, expose a little bit more of the stem, see if a root or two will push out at that there. Because that would be good. You know, that's where I really want the roots, is higher up the plant. I don't really want them down here. Because then I'm stuck with leaving it as it is. Which is not really a choice I want to take. So, a little bit of thinking to do with that one, a little bit of watering to do, and lots of other people's videos to watch, and, you know, lazy day. We have those sometimes. Sometimes we work our whatnots off, and other times we have a lazy day. I've got a feeling one of the blooms has dropped on the Miltoniopsis, and it was the oldest one. It was in that bloom was there when I got the plant, and so was that large one there. They were both there. That one was a bud that opened just literally within a couple of days of getting the plant. So that's the youngest bloom. But I need that plant out of the pot, and I need those sheaths off the base of those new growths. So I might actually have a fiddle with that one this afternoon, a bit later on in the day. Okay, that was all for now, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for visiting my channel. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, there are some others you could watch below. You can just click on the thumbnails. you'd like to see more of my videos, please subscribe to my channel. You can use the link below. I post on most days, so hope to see you again soon. Thanks for stopping by.